It's not going to be specified. We'll let you do either for this one. We'll let you do either.
So
Because in your book they're showing you seated. So,
if the sitting is like is that like gravity eliminated?
it is.
So would you say like you make up a scenario like if they're doing it prone and they're like, oh, they can't do full range of motion, can you put her in gravity eliminated?
Yes. So if I was testing internal external rotators, you can do it sitting. That's actually very common in the clinic because it's just quicker than getting your patient to lie down, sit up, do all these different things. So a lot of patients, therapists clinically will do it just in sitting. I just want you to know why the test is technically more accurate in a prone position. Now, if they're in sitting and they still can't do it, and you need a gravity eliminated position, so technically you are in a seated position, what I would have you do is actually have them put their hand on the table so the table's supporting them, so they're not also having to worry about like keeping that shoulder elevated, whatever it is, and then have them just test with the table supporting their arm that pure internal external rotation. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other questions about internal external rotators? No? Okay, I'm gonna have you test your other arm just to give your arm a break.
She has an injury on the right side.
I lied. Okay, so supraspinatus. I'm pretty sure this is the way your book shows it. Supraspinatus, we're gonna test them essentially in the scaption plane. A little bit, some of you might be familiar with like an empty can test. We're not gonna have them do that full internal rotation for the MMT. We're not doing the internal rotation for MMT because that's an impingement test, but you're gonna have them in that scaption test where they're abducted to 90, slightly horizontally adducted, so it's just kind of that plane of scaption, but your patient doesn't understand, patients aren't gonna know what scaption means. I just want you to know that's the location of your patient's arm. So you can say, can you bring your arm out this way for me? Any pain doing that? Can you show me that? Good, any pain there? And, sorry, just wanna make sure. There. I would probably be facing my patient, so if you're in front of or behind your patient, I'm not going to be as nitpicky about, but usually typically better to face your patient so you can see what's going on here. Okay, bring your arm out here. I want you to hold. So I'm going to stabilize above the shoulder. My force is going to be just distal to the elbow, so again, not on a joint line, just distal to the joint line. And it's going to be into adduction. So don't worry so much about the extension, but you're just bringing them into adduction. Okay, I want you to hold here, breathe, don't let me move you. 3, 2, 1, hold. Any pain?
No.
Okay, great. So I would say that's a 4. Yeah. Okay, supraspinatus. Questions about that? And serratus anterior. Okay, so serratus, does the book have them sitting or standing for that one? I can't remember. Sorry, I can't remember if your book has your patients sitting or standing, or it doesn't say.
She's sorry. She's sneezing. I didn't sneeze on
Yeah. Okay. For now, we're going to say your patient's sitting. If it ends up being that your patient's standing, we'll get to that. But so what you're going to have the serratus anterior does that protraction of the scapula. So you're going to have them bring their arms about 130 degrees, so not quite 90, not quite 180, kind of somewhere just above shoulder height. We're not expecting you to get on a goni and measure 130 degrees, but about 130 degrees. Now with serratus, its primary action is on the scapula, so your force is primarily going to be on the scapula into retraction. But what I'm going to have my patient do, I'm going to have you bring your arm up here, and then I want you, without moving your body, I want you to punch forward like you're trying to reach something in front of you, and relax. So that's the big primary motion, is that you're getting that arm protracted forward. Does everyone see that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show my patient that, have you bring your arm up, and can you punch forward? Good. Any pain with that? No. Can you do that for me on your own? Good. So that's having them do active passive. You know that's at least a 3 out of 5. So I'm gonna have you come up here. So the majority of your force is actually gonna be on that lateral border of the scapula. So you're gonna use your thenar eminence on your patient's lateral border, pushing them into retraction. That's 75–80% of your force. The last 20–25% of your force is gonna be on that forearm into extension. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So hand is on that lateral border, other hand is on forearm, primarily pushing her into scapular retraction with slight extension.
So both your arms are doing.
Both of my arms.
Force.
Majority of force is on the scapula, bit of force is on the humerus, or excuse me, on the forearm.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
About force, yeah, pushing them into, just relax, pushing them into that extension. Okay, so I'm gonna have you punch forward, good, hold, don't forget to breathe, hold there, don't move you. Hold, 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 and I could break her.
4 of 5.
Yeah, 4 on 5. Questions about serratus?
So you said there was like 70–75% on the retraction portion where you're pushing the
Yep.
blades in. But what if you just break them at the extension point, but they're still protracted?
So you'll feel that. If their scapula doesn't move, then that's not serratus. But that's why the majority of your force is on that scapula. You're just kind of adding a little bit of extra pressure on that humerus. So you're not, or excuse me, not forearm. You're not as concerned with what's going on with the forearm. You're feeling for that scapula to retract.
Okay.
Does that answer that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's another question. No.
It is seated, by the way.
That's seated, okay. But I will say one of her disadvantages here is her feet are not on the ground. Get your patient's feet on the ground, just so that she can stabilize the rest of her body without feeling like she's gonna fall forward or something like that. So feet on the ground. Anytime your patient is in here's a global knowledge for everybody. If your patient is in a seated position for anything, palpation, MLT, MLT, goni, their feet need to be on the ground. Good? Okay, let's practice those.